Hello and welcome to another edition of Talk with the Badge. I'm Cheryl Stewart and I'm talking with Detective Tom McCue today about a subject that is very near and dear to my heart, shopping. And especially this time of year, there are dangers that come with shopping, but these are actually tips and advice that we can use year round. Hello, Officer McCue, Detective McCue. How are you today?
Good. How are you doing? Thank you for having us.
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us and chatting. Happy holidays. Of course, someone's happy holidays can take a turn for a very unpleasant holiday when they are the victim of a crime. What are some of the more common crimes that we're seeing here in the Sacramento area this time of year?
This time of year, they really range from a lot of, mainly the ones that we're seeing most of right now are theft-related crimes. Anywhere from on your person, vehicles, and then residential all the way up to commercial, business burglaries, things of that nature.
Now, one area of crime that's been in the news quite a bit the last couple of years, but I feel like we've been seeing a lot more of it this year, are porch pirates. And, I guess it makes sense because we're all ordering and shopping for things online, having a lot of deliveries to the house. And it's amazing to me with all the time we're spending at home that porch pirates are still finding ways to steal packages, but they are. What are some of the tips that your department can give us to help make things safer?
Well, this year, more so than any other year that we've ever experienced because of COVID, the people are ordering more packages than they ever have before and not going to the stores as much. So with that said, there are a couple of different things that you can do when you're ordering these packages. You can leave little notes on your door, very small, that some people won't see just by driving by, which is, hey, a note to your UPS or the Amazon guy that says, hey, try and leave the packages out of sight. So they'll push them off to the corner the best that they can. The other options are the neighbors that you trust. Just say, hey, if I have a package and if I'm not home, can you secure it for me? But make sure those are neighbors that you trust, okay? There are other things that Amazon, if you've seen some of their ads, that what they're doing is you can provide them with your trusted code, and it's a different code that you have for anybody else, that they can deliver these packages inside your garage if you have one. The other things that you can do is when you order these packages, you can request a signature. So they won't deliver that package until they get a signature from somebody inside your house versus just leaving it on your doorstep. So those are some of the things that are available to you that would prevent somebody just driving by, seeing that package and saying, hey, that's a great opportunity, and taking that from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't even know that requiring a signature was an option that you had with Amazon. So that's a really good tip. And I'm sure you can find out more information about that on the Amazon website.
Yes.
Absolutely. So something that happened to me recently in my own driveway is, and I wanted to bring this up because I don't think people realize the importance of locking your car and securing, like taking all valuables out in your own driveway. And I live in a nice neighborhood, but somebody got into my car 3 a.m., ransacked it, took the registration, which I'm not sure what a criminal would do with that, but it really highlighted, we get far too comfortable with leaving valuables in our car in our own driveways.
So the best advice that this wouldn't even be from law enforcement, this would be from anybody. What you need to do is make sure that for your vehicle, whether this be in your driveway or at a parking lot, grocery store, convenience store, wherever it may be, is lock your vehicle. That makes it so much more difficult for a thief or anyone for that matter to get into your vehicle. So when we get these small little series or just one or two cases where we get video after video of these people walking by through neighborhoods, and they're not breaking into cars like the traditional way of shattering your window. They're checking door handles. And when people, sometimes they just forget that they leave their car unlocked, these people will jiggle every door handle of every car that they come in contact with. And lo and behold, they will find several cars that it's unlocked, and they will just rummage and find anything of value in that vehicle and take it. And they will wipe everything out of that car, including your registration, and absolutely do not leave that title in there, because they can do much more damaging things with that. But they can still do a lot just with that registration through the DMV that people are unaware of. Yes.
Yeah, well, I was completely unaware of until after it had happened to me, unfortunately. And then the more investigation I did, it's a pretty serious thing.
Yes, it is. Yes.
What do you recommend people do? Because, if you do get pulled over for a speeding ticket, the officer wants to see your license and registration. So do you not keep it in your car? Do you keep it in your wallet? What would you do?
Keep it in your car, because that is the best way to do it. But you can also, what I would recommend is, if it does get stolen, prior to that is take a photograph of it. Keep it in your phone. So if it does get stolen, you actually have a record of that in your photos on your phone. So if you do get pulled over by any agency, you can tell them that. Just say, hey, it got stolen out of my car, but I do have a record of it. Or here it is. And then take a photocopy of that and keep it at home. So if it does get stolen, and before the DMV can issue you another one, you still have another copy of it to replenish that.
Yeah, that's a really good tip, which leads to another area of crime that seems to be a lot more this time of year, but it happens all year round. And that is the smash and grab. That also has happened to me when I was just, having lunch with someone, just 1 hour, broad daylight. It does not take long. And, fortunately in my case, they got a bag that I had just bought. There was nothing in it, but still, they stole the purse. What are some tips? I mean, obviously you can't prevent people from smashing your window, but what are some things you can do to deter them from picking your car?
Well, it depends on where you're at and the time of day are particular things. But depending upon the parking lot, the closer you can park to where you are at, if it's a restaurant or a department store or whatever it might be, the closer you can park to those locations is obviously going to be better. So they don't want to be in the limelight. They don't want other people to see them. But if you park farther away, that is more convenient for them, because less people are going to see them. So it's more convenient for them to do that smash and grab. So if you can get a closer spot, do that. If it's at night or sunset or whatever it may be, look for lighting conditions. Brighter is better. So find those locations. Busier, more congested, more people are going to be there. The suspects or those thieves, they don't want those areas. They want to go to those darker, desolate areas because it's easier for them to get out and get away. So look for those areas. The other tips that they look for is items in your car, right? So if you do shopping and you come back and you put your boxes or your gifts or your bags of whatever you've just purchased in your car, you go back into the store, those are the things that they're looking for. Those are key things to them. That makes your car a target. So hide those things. If you can retain those things while you're shopping, yeah, your arms are going to get tired because you have a lot of gifts on them. However, make the people that you're with start holding them and keep shopping, because you don't want to put them in your car yet, because they will get stolen. These people don't care.
Yeah.
However, if you do put them in your car, hide them in your trunk, put them in the back seat, put a blanket over it, whatever it may be, just don't leave them visible, because it's just an invitation for these people to come in and break your window, and they don't care. They'll just get in however they want to. They really will.
And the worst part is, sometimes what they steal isn't that significant, but dealing with the hassle of the busted out window, especially this time of year, it's just something you don't want to have to deal with. Very
inconvenient. It's expensive. Sometimes it's damaging enough to where you can't drive your car home. You have to have it towed, whatever it may be. And it's something that nobody needs.
Absolutely. And I do want to mention, you mentioned more expensive items like packages, but I had a friend that this happened to her out in front of her house for the spare change in the console. A lot of people do that. You know, you get change after you go through a drive-through or whatever, and you just kind of throw it in the console. That alone was invitation for a smash and grab. At least for my friend, it was.
Well, it's an invitation to other things that they don't know what's in the car. So if they see, hey, there's money in there, there might be something else in the car. So it's today's world. People don't care. So if there's anything in the car at all, they're going to break in and go through the rest of your car to see what else they can find of value. And sometimes there's nothing in there. And then you are left with inconvenience of fixing the door jamb, the window, whatever it may be, of getting those repairs. And you're left with your insurance deductibles and the inconvenience and your car out of service and just a mess to deal with.
Yeah, and especially right now with COVID and things just take longer these days. It's definitely not an inconvenience you want to have to deal with. All right, so I'm sounding like I am a target for crime, but honestly, I'm just living my normal life. But these things happen to everyone in the course of your everyday life. So this is one I wanted to ask you about. This happened to me. I was shopping in a grocery store, and I used my ATM card at the checkout. And as I'm leaving, I get a text on my phone, and it says it's from my credit union, and it says that there's been some sort of fraudulent charge and it named the market that I had just shopped at. And there was a link. They wanted me to call and verify some information. And, at first I thought, oh, wow, this seems official and legit. But when they asked for my social security number, I'm like, no. This is obviously a very sophisticated scam. Are you seeing more of these type of scams, and what is going on there? And how can you protect yourself?
So that gets really, really complex. So there are credit card, there's scanners out there that will actually read your card, that will basically notify you as soon as you put your card in. They have the ability to start downloading your card and obtaining all of your information. And immediately they can start using your card information to make purchases. So we're not seeing a tremendous increase on that aspect right now. But those things gather out into, you'll see them at gas stations. They will actually replace the credit card scanner in the actual pump. So if you ever go to those things, and you'll see that there's a tape over the actual whole unit. If that tape is ever broken, don't use those machines, because that's probably a faulty machine that has been swapped out unknown to the employees or the owners of that store. But there hasn't really been a tremendous jump in those lately. You get the traditional amount, and I don't know what that amount is off the top of my head, but I haven't really seen an increase during this COVID time. But there are some to be aware of. But if you do have those, don't respond to that message that you're getting. Call your bank directly, the number that you know. So if you get those messages, don't call that number. If you're unfamiliar with it, don't call it. If you get the emails that are unknown to you, don't trust it. Call your bank directly, the numbers that you know. Do the trusted that you know. If you these scams or the phone calls that your information has been hacked, please call this number. Don't call that number. Call the numbers that you do trust and the banks that you trust, and verify the information that way. So a lot of times when you do call the numbers that they're calling you with, and please call us back, those are scams. And they will obtain your information right away. And that's how the beginning process for them starts. And that's when the victims become victims.
Question, is it safer to use things like Apple Pay or Google Pay on your phone versus a physical credit card?
Well, I don't know. That would be a technical question. I use both. But I would say, and this is not from, I'm not promoting one way or another, but they both have their safeguards in place, and they both have their securities there. So if there is fraudulent activity, they both have things in place to combat that with you as your provider and as a customer. They both have things in place to help you prevent that.
Yeah, such a crazy world we live in right now. Online shopping, we're all doing so much more of it this year, and that raises unusual risks that you don't have with traditional in-person shopping. And one of the first things that comes to mind is maybe even the security of your home Wi-Fi network. A lot of people don't even think about the security of that, but a thief, a very savvy thief, could actually hack in and steal your credit card information that way, correct?
They can. So on that note, make sure that you have a security password for your network. It only takes minutes to set up. A lot of people don't like it because it's inconvenient. But the way that these things are set up now, you can set it up. It remembers your devices. It remembers who you are. So you don't have to put that in every single time. You just have to put it in for your new devices. So if a suspect is close to your home or whatever it may be, or a neighbor that is recognizing your Wi-Fi for the first time, it's going to require them to put that password in. And if they don't have it, they're not going to get in. So a strong, very strong recommendation to put in that password.
From one end of the technological extreme to the other, old school purse snatching actually still happens more than you think. And you guys have some really good tips, things that we ladies don't think about when we're out shopping. You know, I am really guilty of this, throwing my purse in the top part of the shopping cart at the grocery store, which is one of the worst things you can do.
Mm-hmm. So there are a couple things with, to answer your first question, it happens every single day. Not just here in Sacramento, but it is a nationwide thing. And it's nationwide because it's easy. There's no effort behind it. And what happens is when you come out of a grocery store, your purse is in that front top part of the grocery cart. So when you get to your car, you start putting your groceries away. You turn your back to the grocery cart. As soon as you do that, your purse is gone, because these suspects, these thieves, watch you walk out. They look at the type of person you may or may not be and evaluate you. Okay. Are you an easy target or not? So they start to follow you a couple paces behind. And that's going to bring me to my next point. So as you start to put your groceries away, then they're going to take your purse and they are gone. You turn around and you don't know who did it, because they might be already in their car by the time you realize what had occurred. So my advice on that is, when you come out of the grocery store, put your purse away first. If they take your milk and your eggs, that's okay. We can get you some new milk and eggs, but at least all your contents in your purse are still there. So that would be my recommendation on that. Going to my next point on that is, when you leave a store, and this is for a grocery store, a convenience store, department store, be aware of your surroundings. Know who's around you, who's in front of you, behind you. And that doesn't take any more than just looking around. Who is around you? And be mindful of who's around your car, because some of these people maybe you're stopping them from breaking into your car, but be mindful of who's near you, around your car. And if you are not comfortable with that, or who's around you, most, and especially during this time of the year, most stores, even some of the grocery stores, have security. Ask them for an escort to your car, and they will gladly do that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, this time of year when we have so much on our mind, but the number one thing that should be on each and every one of our minds is our own personal safety. I mean, even above a purse, right? Your own personal safety, and you're not putting anybody out if you ask for an escort.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, this is just, thank you for so much great information. Is there a place online that folks can go to get even more safety tips and crime prevention tips?
So we have two. We have sacsheriff.com, and if you live in the Rancho Cordova area, you can do Rancho Cordova Police Department.com, and both of those websites have a handful of information, holiday information, preventative tips, things of that nature. Also, who to call for if you are a victim of a crime. So you can call our non-emergency number, which is the 874-5115, or if it is an emergency, obviously 911. And then also how to file a online report if you are a victim of a crime that doesn't require an officer's response to where you're at.
Oh, that's very useful. Thank you. Well, thank you again, Detective McCue. I appreciate the time and all of the very valuable information. And next time you have more information, please stop by again.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. Nice talking with you.
Nice talking with you as well. And this has been another edition of Talk with the Badge, and we will see you next time.
Take care.